Dear students, I'm here again with the lesson on gerund. You all know that all action words are verbs. But do you know what a verbal is? Verbals are words derived out of verbs but functioning not as verbs but as nouns sometimes as adjectives, and at other times as adverbs. We can understand it by example. Now, smoke. Let us take the word smoke. Smoke is a verb. So when I say Ram smokes, I am talking about Ram, his action of smoking. So it's a verb. But when I say I can see smoke coming out of the chimney, now the action of smoking is missing. Any action is not being undertaken on the part of the smoke. I can just see a substance coming out of the chimney, and this substance is known as smoke. The name of this substance is smoke. And all naming words, as you all know, are noun. So I can see smoke coming out of the chimney. In this sentence, smoke is a noun. Again, Ram is smoking. This is a verb. Smoke is the base form, and I add ing to it. It's the present continuous form of a verb. But when I use that same word smoking in another sentence, which is smoking is injurious to health, smoking is not a verb anymore because the action of smoking is missing here. I am just naming the habit of smoking, and all naming words are nouns. So this time smoking is a noun. But since smoke is originally a verb, here it is functioning as a noun only. We don't call it noun, we call it a verbal noun. Gerund is the grammatical name of a verbal noun. How you will define gerunds. Gerunds are verbals. We have already done this. They are formed by combining the base form of verb with ing. And yet you have to remember that verb plus ing, when it acts as a noun, is not the continuous form of the verb. Then it starts functioning as a substantive. It starts functioning as a noun, and that is why we call it verbal noun. Now, what all functions do gerunds perform in a sentence? They can be the subject of a sentence, just like any other noun can be the subject of a sentence. Let us again take an example. Walking is good for health. What is good for health? Walking. So gerund here is a subject. Walking is not, Ram is walking is different. But walking is good for health is very different. When I say Ram is walking, Ram is actually performing the action of walking. So action is taking place and it becomes an action word. It becomes a verb. But when I say walking is good for health, I'm just naming the activity of walking, and hence it is a gerund. And here it is working as a subject of a sentence. Then you can also use gerund phrases as subjects. Running backwards can be dangerous. So running backwards is a phrase. It's a gerund phrase because running is a gerund and it is functioning here as a subject. Now, gerunds can also be the object of a sentence. Shyam likes photographing. Here, gerund is an object. Shyam likes apples. Apple is a simple noun and it is the object here. Similarly, you can replace any noun with the gerund and it will act as the same object. Shyam likes photographing. Here it's an object. Gerunds can also be used after prepositions. I am fed up with your complaints. No point in arguing with you. Okay, did I say fed up with your complaints? Then let me apologize to you. That is, there is no gerund in that sentence. I'm fed up with your nagging. So nagging is a gerund, verb plus ing, and nagging is only the name of this activity. Now, no point in fighting, no point in arguing. In spite of running after the car, I could not catch them. So here you see gerunds are being used after prepositions. Then there are certain common expressions which take gerunds and make their meaning, like not worth, no use, not worth spending your money here, no use going to the function, can't help laughing at him, can't stand his singing. You can also use gerunds after verbs, though it's a bit confusing because in some cases you can use the gerunds, in some cases you will have to use infinitives, and in most of these cases you will see that when you use the gerund, the meaning is different from the sentences where you use the infinitives. Let us understand by an example. Say the word is forget. So now you have to use a gerund after the verb forget. I will not forget to leave her behind. I will not forget to leave her behind. So I'm just talking about one point in time. I will not forget to leave her behind. I cannot forget driving along the coastal area. I cannot forget driving. This time I'm not using infinitive, I'm using a gerund. But I don't want to tell about an experience that will happen once. This is an experience that has a long-lasting impact. I will never forget the pleasure of driving along that coastal area. So that memory is still haunting me and it will haunt me forever. So when I want to say that, I can use gerunds with forget. So you see, after forget, when I use an infinitive, the meaning changes, the intent changes. Now, gerunds can also be used as predicates. Not only subjects, but as predicates. Her occupation is growing pearls. So growing is the gerund here. Her favorite pastime is riding horses. Or you can simply say her favorite pastime is riding. So you're using gerund as the predicate. Now it is important that you understand the difference between gerunds and infinitives, and why I'm talking about gerunds and infinitives in one breath, in one slide, is because most of the times you will see that gerunds can be replaced by infinitives and vice versa. You can replace an infinitive with a gerund too. Again, let us go back to that first example of mine, which is very commonly known. Smoking is injurious to health. So smoking here is a gerund. But I can always say to smoke is injurious to health. And I would still be correct grammatically, and the meaning will also not change. We already have the saying, to err is human, to forgive divine. You can always change it by or replace the infinitives by the gerunds, and you can say erring is human, forgiving divine, and the meaning does not change. So most of the times they are interchangeable. However, and you will see the gerunds and infinitives both are like they serve as nouns, but there are some infinitives, there are some restrictions again. There are some infinitives which cannot make any meaning if they are replaced by gerunds. Like there are some words that won't take infinitives, then there are some words that won't take gerunds, and then there are some words which will make sense with both the gerunds and the infinitives. So in the next couple of slides, I share with you some words that will not take gerunds. In the next slide, I will give you some words that will not take infinitives. And then there are some words that take the both. But keep in mind, this list is not mine. I have borrowed it from the OWL website that I have already told you about. It's really useful. So I recommend the OWL website once again. So this is a list of words. These verbs take only infinitives. I decided to go. You can't say I decided going. I plan to visit you. I plan visiting you is incorrect. And you can practice with all these words and you will discover things on your own. So here are some words that take only gerunds as their objects. I deny complaining to the principal. You can't say I deny to complain. When you say I deny to complain, that means you are not willing to complain. But when you say I deny complaining, that means I refute the charge that you have against me, that I complained it to the principal. So the meaning changes. I recall visiting you during Diwali. You can't say I recall to visit you during Diwali. That does not make sense. Next slide. So these are some words that take both gerunds and infinitives. So here it's a list of words where gerunds and infinitives become interchangeable. He started to sing. He started singing when he saw me. So you can use a gerund and you can use an infinitive. I love singing to my daughter. I love to sing when the moon is in the sky. So it makes perfect sense. Here are some sense verbs that take an object plus a gerund or a simple verb. So you just keep practicing with these words and you will see that it's much fun practicing, because gerund, again, all the grammatical items, not only gerunds, all these grammatical items, they make your language beautiful. They embellish your language. So you must make them a part of your daily vocabulary, of your day-to-day vocabulary. Now let us see gerunds and participles. I started by introducing verbals to you, and I told you that verbal nouns are gerunds. Now there are some words that look exactly like a gerund in form. I'm not talking about the present continuous form. That is a verb, all right. I am talking about some words which do not act as verbs. They are in form just like a gerund, and yet they are not nouns. So you will see there was a very famous movie, The Burning Train. So if you analyze the title of this movie, you see that train is the noun, not burning. So it's not a gerund. Burning is functioning it is actually modifying the meaning of the noun train. So it is functioning as an adjective. But in form, you see that it is burn plus ing, that is a gerund form, and burn is a pure verb. But since it is modifying the meaning of the word train, it is an adjective. Another example, burning your bridges is not advisable. Here burning is no, it is not an adjective. This time burning is a gerund. So the burning train has a verbal adjective, but burning your bridges is not advisable has a gerund. Because burning your bridges, in this sentence, burning is a noun. But in the burning train, burning is an adjective. So it is a verbal adjective. It's not an ordinary. You are not saying the blue train or the red train, something like that. You are using a word that comes straight out of a verb but is not functioning as a verb. So it is a verbal adjective. All verbal adjectives have a grammatical name, and that is participle. Now, participles again are of two types. They can be present participles like the burning train, and had the movie been made today, maybe like the general trend, the director would say, I want a sequel to it. So then maybe he will make the burnt train. And the burnt is again an adjective, a participle, but this time you see that it does not have an ing. It is the past participle. So gerunds and participles, there are chances that you will sometimes be confused between them because they look alike. But keep in mind that if the word is functioning as a noun, only then it can be a gerund. If the word is functioning as an adjective, it will be a participle. It's fun practicing gerunds. So practice gerunds, have fun, and wait for my next lesson. Till then, bye-bye.